Hello, my name's Paul Henderson, author of the book Alcoholic to Alchemist. And I want to speak to you very honestly today about my past, and let's maybe try to answer that conundrum. Why do people drink to destruction at times? What is it that propels a perfectly ordinary person to put drink before the families, before the loved ones? What is it that propels a person to drink utterly destructively? Let's discuss this. I know many of you out there have done this yourselves, and I know many of you out there have also family members, and you're onlookers, you're seeing this destruction occur, and you can't understand one iota of it. So let's look at the mechanisms behind destructive drinking and what turns perhaps Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde, which is often the metaphor that is used. I myself, going back many years ago, used to drink 2 bottles of vodka a day and anything else I could lay my hands on. This included disinfectant, surgical spirits, aftershave, and so on. I had actually become what is known as a rock bottom alcoholic. And I didn't have a bad childhood, I had a good childhood, I had a loving family. Obviously, there was ups and downs along the way, which is an integral part of life. But I did eventually start to drink very destructively. And it wasn't as though one day I threw the patio doors open, looked up at the blue skies and said, I think I'll start to drink myself to death today. It doesn't happen like that, does it? No, there's much more behind it, and many of us are baffled as to why do we drink like this. I know many of the relations of people who drink destructively will be asking the same question, so let's try and enlighten people today. Once again, I put drink before my family, my beloved family, the people I love most of all in the world. I put drink before my job. I put drink before myself. I put drink before anything. It was number one priority on my list. And I started drinking destructively from round about the age of 20-ish. By the time I'd reached my mid-20s to late 20s, I was being hospitalised frequently. I was having terrible withdrawal. I was having delirium tremens, DTs. I was seeing all sorts of things that weren't there. I was acting very uncharacteristically. Again, back to this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And when I was asked by my beloved parents, what's the reason for you drinking like this? Why are you destroying yourself? They even said, we can't stand to see you destroying yourself anymore, and asked me to leave at one point. And my answer was, I don't know. The only way I could describe it, I felt like I'd been possessed by some sort of evil demon that was propelling me to drink. And when I drank, I would act, again, uncharacteristically, out of character. I ended up having drink driving bans. I even had a drink driving ban whilst on a drink driving ban. And I very nearly went to prison for that. The sentence was suspended. I was forever in hospital. I had had numerous dryouts in hospital where they give me epinephrine tablets in order to calm me down. At this point, I literally couldn't pick anything up. If I picked something up, my hand would be shaking like so. I couldn't hold a drink to my mouth. When I first went to AA years ago, I had to get somebody to do that for me. I ended up from having a loving family and a lovely job and a number of girlfriends throughout time, to basically becoming a rock bottom alcoholic, homeless, penniless, emotionally bankrupt. And I ended up on the rat infested railway embankments. And I suppose it was at this point I asked myself, what really is propelling me to do this? A little light at the back of my mind said I wasn't born to do this. And from that point onwards, I started to make a somewhat rocky recovery. I don't like the word recovery, incidentally, which I'll explain another time. But I started to make a somewhat rocky recovery. Relapse followed sobriety in cycles many times. I was in rehabs quite a lot. I had some long spells in rehab. But back to this question, what is it that propels a person to drink so destructively? And today, before I answer that, the beginning of my sobriety became a journey for me in which I took to psychology and I took to different spiritual aspects, not particularly religious, but spiritual aspects of the human condition. And that helped me greatly. It helped me greatly to understand life. But first and foremost, I developed a thirst for psychology. I wanted to try and understand what is it that makes a person like me, who is quite a normal human being, fun-loving teenager, what makes a person like that turn into this person that nobody really wants to know? And today I know the answer to that question. It's people drink to destruction. People start to drink for one reason and one reason only. It's to escape some sort of suffering. It's to escape pain. Part of our psyche, often referred to as the id, the instinctual part of our psyche, will always take the path of least resistance from pain to pleasure. Okay, so instinctually, our psyche won't accept pain. So it'll find a fast way of dealing with pain. Now let's see how alcohol actually does this. How does alcohol annul our pain? Well, quite frankly, when we drink alcohol, if we've got a problem and we drink alcohol, then the alcohol goes to the frontal lobes of our brain. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. So alcohol goes to the frontal lobes of our brain, and the frontal lobes of our brain, part of its function is to deal with inhibitions. Okay. What really happens is that when alcohol enters this part of the brain, we become uninhibited or disinhibited. What does that mean? It means we don't care. Okay? So alcohol has this hook. We've got a problem, something's on our mind, we've got anxiety, we're full of anger, we're in a lot of pain and we're suffering. Then when we drink alcohol and it reaches the frontal lobes of our brain, for a little while we don't care. It's as though the pain has been annulled. It's as though the anxiety is dissipated, has magically gone away. And after this, we think, alcohol is the magical panacea for all life's problems. When we've got a problem, we drink. And when we drink, we have this feeling of not caring for a while. But what happens, it takes more and more alcohol to reach that state. So next time we have a problem, it may take a little bit more alcohol to make us disinhibited. And then next time, a little bit more alcohol again, so we don't care. Now, the problem here is that when we start drinking excessively to annul our pain, not only does alcohol rid us of our pain, but it also rids us of our conscience. Okay? In psychological terms, the conscience is often referred to as the superego, the internalized rules of life, of society, the things that bring about civilization. So you think about this now. When you drink excessively, your conscience is rendered inactive. So, at this point, No wonder we act in ways that we never would do when we're sober. Okay, so first of all, look at the hook. Look what's going on here. It's so important. First and foremost, you've got pain, suffering. Pain and suffering is an integral part of life. There's a background of dissonance, a background of discontentment in life for most of us. And that's the very least form of pain. And then we've got the more real severe forms of pain, such as unresolved childhood issues, grief, and all of these things, all from which we want to escape. So what I'm saying to you is alcoholism, or alcohol itself, is an escape mechanism from pain. The reason that people turn to drugs, mind-altering drugs and alcohol, is to escape pain. And that is the only reason that people drink destructively. Nobody decides to drink destructively because their life is perfect. Okay? And in further videos, I'm going to discuss what forms, what guises this pain comes in, because it doesn't mean that you have to have had a drastic childhood to want to drink yourself to death. There are many forms of discontentment. There are many forms of suffering from which us human beings want to escape. Okay, so let's just look at that. Let's just reiterate, why does a human being who's seemingly functions well, is reasonably well balanced, why do they all of a sudden want to drink themselves into oblivion? And the answer I'm giving to you is escapism. It's to escape from some form of suffering. Okay, so the answer to alcoholism is to elicit that which from which we want to escape. What is the suffering? And quite often, our pain, because of the instinctual nature of our psyche, it pushes pain down. It ignores it, especially our culture, the stiff upper lip, don't admit your weaknesses, don't admit your pain, and we stuff it down. But stuff that is stuffed down, pain that is stuffed down, is not dead and buried. It's buried alive. And it continues to impact on us as human beings from the unconscious threshold. So once again, I reiterate, people drink destructively because they want to escape from some sort of pain. Now, they do this by imbibing alcohol, and alcohol goes to the frontal lobes of the brain. Okay, when it goes to the frontal lobes of the brain, we become disinhibited, which means we don't care for a while, which is exactly the effect we want. That alcohol anesthetizes our pain. Yeah? I hope you people there who drink and destructively are identifying with this. Now, the second part of that is that when we start to drink more and more and more alcohol to try and anesthetize our pain, we also render our memory inactive. It impairs our memory. So we can't remember what we're doing. And this is often referred to as a blackout. There's a blackout in our memory. Now, look at this cocktail of potential trouble. Okay? We drink, and we drink excessively. It renders our conscious inactive. So we've got nothing to marshal our behavior at that point. So we're going to act in real ways that we would never ever dream of doing before. Okay? And also we can't remember what we're doing. Okay? So we're like a walking time bomb here. Okay? The whole point about these videos and about the Alcoholic to Alchemist program is to enlighten you people. Okay? So on this first video, we've looked at why we drink to destruction. Okay? On following videos, we're going to look at, we're going to go into the granular level, more specifics. What is it exactly that we want to escape from. What can we do about it? How can we rectify this? I've been sober 25, 26 years now, and from a person who drank 24 hours a day when they were awake, okay, I don't miss alcohol one iota. If somebody said to me today is £1 million to take a drink, I wouldn't take it, because that £1 million can't give me what I have in my life today. I have a fantastic life today. And I was a rock bottom gutter alcoholic. Hospitals, lockups, I am homeless, penniless, life bereft of meaning. So let's take this journey together, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you.